Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Listen, we are about to do a review on the trailer of Michael, which is a Michael Jackson biopic. We're going to go ahead and look over this. If you like what you see and if you like my channel, please consider subscribing. Make sure you hit that like button above me. You see the QR code, scan it. If you're watching from your phone, watching from your TV, pick up your phone, scan it. You'll be sent back to my YouTube page and subscribe. All right. So this has been highly anticipated. I will tell you that I have looked at it. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a stutter stop situation. So let's get this back to the beginning and let's see what's going on.
I know you've been waiting a long time for this.
Yes, we have.
The tracks are made, the songs are ready. Let's take it from the top. This is your story.
Let's go back here. There has always been this online. You have the younger generation saying that, this star is bigger than Michael Jackson, this star is bigger than Michael Jackson, and they give their evidence. And I will just say this. First of all, you need to tell me at which point of his career are you talking about? Because a lot of your faves have only been faves in their adult span of their careers. We're talking about a man that has been popular and highly popular since 1968. Now, he passed away in 2009, but from 1968 to 2009, this man has been popular. Every iteration of his career, from when he was a child, where he was singing with his brothers with the Jackson Fives, and then they turned into the Jacksons when they left Motown. Even in that period of time, he was also solo. He did solo albums when he was a child, Ben, and all of those different albums. So are you comparing your fave to that portion? Are you comparing your him to his teenage years into his young 20s when he was him and his brothers were performing and they were the Jacksons and they had hit of strings, a, a string of hits, or are we talking about during his solo career when he left his brothers and he went solo? He had his Off the Wall album. He had his Thriller album. He had his Bad album. He had all of these strings of albums that he came out with. Are you comparing yourself to that Michael Jackson? Because the one thing I knew about that Michael Jackson and any iteration of Michael Jackson in his career, there was no social media. There was no streaming. Everything he sold was physical copies. So whether he sold a physical copy of a vinyl album, whether he sold a physical copy of a CD, cassette, 8-track, whatever you were listening to, singles, whatever, they were all physical copies. He sold millions of physical copies of his albums. When he went on tour, he sold out stadiums, not auditoriums. He sold out stadiums around the world. He would get on stage and not say a word. And you had people literally falling out where ambulances had to come get them. We're not talking about one, we're talking about 10s to 20s and 30s, the people just falling out just because he was on stage. This man was a performer. He was a singer. When you talk about his singing and you talk about his skill, when you go back and listen to these songs and we dissect these songs, we are finding out not only was he singing lead, he was also singing in the background. So those of you all that go to Music Garage or whatever kind of music program that you're doing and you're putting in all these little different tracks and things like that to make this song, just remember that this man was doing his own background vocals. He was doing it, as we call it, analog. He was back there doing it piece by piece by piece. So when he went into the studio, he didn't have all this extra stuff. to help you along. He wasn't singing with auto tune. He was flat foot singing and dancing. So when you talk about this, I'd love to know at what point in his career are you comparing? Because as far as I'm concerned, and you can call me old if you want to, I've not seen a performer do what Michael Jackson did. I've just not seen it. I think it's best to compare people in their own generations because I have not seen performers of today are not like performers of old. I've not seen people do what Michael Jackson did in that time period that he was still alive. And even his contemporaries, uh, uh, Madonna and all of them, they all came out around that time. Well, she came out she came out around in the 90s, but still they didn't reach the height that Michael Jackson. They were fans of Michael Jackson even though that they were the same age. They were fans of him when he was a child singer, a child star. The man he was acting, he was singing, he was doing plays. Let's continue.
Honor your past and embrace the future.
Wow, let's go back. Now, I will tell you, Jafar Jackson, who is the son of Jermaine Jackson, is playing his uncle. And I'm sorry, Jafar, Jafar, you looking like your uncle. You looking like your uncle. And I'm excited to go see it, even though, I had a little beef between you and Your Majesty about what y'all did to Blanket back in the day. Y'all was trying to tase him. But, that's a whole nother thing. Y'all grew up. I'm going to let that slide if Blanket let that slide. But still, I remember that. So let's see what you're doing out here. But he's looking like his uncle. He truly is.
And embrace the future. That's what people want.
Oh my gosh.
Q, can you lower the lights for me, please?
Okay.
He's got that voice. He's got that voice. Now, what I would be interested in, y'all, if he uses his regular voice, not just that voice, Michael Jackson also had a deeper voice. And I would love to hear that deeper voice. It's not that much deeper, but it wasn't as high like that. He didn't sound like that all the time. But when he was in public or when he was where he knew he was going to be recorded, he definitely kept that voice up.
But remember, in here, keep those feet still, my man.
Okay. Okay. Are we looking forward to this? I'm looking forward to it. Now, I do remember that they completed the whole movie. I think the movie was a little over 2.5 hours. And then the part about the essay allegations with the children, I think that there was some kind of snafu in regards to that. So instead of holding up the whole movie, they have broken this movie up into two parts. And I know a lot of people were like, I don't know. But I think that they wanted to continue on this momentum of getting it out because this is when I think they held it back as far as long as they could. I think that they have, I, I believe that they have broken this movie up in two parts. I hope they didn't. I hope that they were able to maybe do if they couldn't go in depth like they wanted to to do a montage of it, or just, kind of cursory, have somebody else say what the allegations were. I don't know exactly, but I am looking forward to this. There's this certain points in his life that I'm curious how they're portraying. I am interested. Number one, I am interested in his relationships. Brooke Shields. I'm interested in his relationships when he got married to Elvis Presley's daughter, Lisa Marie. I'm also interested in the relationship that he had with his children's mother. I'm interested in those relationships because those are things that were not spoken about. So I am interested in those relationships. Were they genuine relationships? Were they PR relationships? I am quite interested in what those relationships were. I'm also interested in his transition and how he handled his transition going from Motown to not being with Motown. I'm looking interested in those transition, but I'm also interested because it's almost a shame that we know that he had vitiligo. We know that he had some skin issues. We also know that he had some burn issues. If you all are not familiar, Michael Jackson back in the 80s had done a Pepsi commercial, and one of the pyrotechnics had hit the top of his head. Sparks had hit the top of his head and burned his head, and he had second and third degree burns in his scalp, to which he didn't have hair growing in those areas. And he also had to go, some painful skin grafts because, as he got older or as he moved or everything, the skin, you know about skin grafts and burns people in the burn unit and all the things, horrific things that they have to go through. So he had to do that. So then he also had to wear, uh as we call them down, the units, he had to wear the little 12-inch bust downs. And so he had all his units and things. There was an exhibit probably 3 or 4 years ago now, maybe 5 years ago, where they did an exhibit on all the hair pieces. The lady who constructed all of his hair units for the tours and just for his everyday life. I'm interested in that. I'm also interested, again, he had vitiligo. I am interested in all the things that he did or he didn't do, because people were like, "Oh my gosh, he got a little light skin." Now, I believe he had vitiligo. Everyone said that he had vitiligo. I also know that he had acne issues and problems, and I also know he had some kind of issues with his nose. And so I know that he did a lot of plastic surgery in regards to his nose. It's my last understanding that the last nose that we saw, that was actually a prosthetic because they had whittled his nose down too far, that I think that it caved in or something happened, that this part going up was a prosthetic on his nose. He really didn't have a nose that big anymore because they had whittled it down to almost nothing. I am interested. I believe he had vitiligo. That's what they said in his autopsy, that he had vitiligo. But I do believe too that he was using some type of skin bleaching system to even out his skin. But all it was doing was just taking the melanin away. And so I wish he would have lived a little longer so he could see the likes of like Winnie Harlow and all of these young people who are living with vitiligo as proudly. And again, it was a different time. Anytime you had any type of ailment, and it's so sad, but it is what it is. You had any type of ailment, and then if you were in the public eye, people were shamed and they did everything so they wouldn't look quote unquote odd. It would be nice for him to be able to see these young people living with vitiligo loud and proud. I'm quite sure that he would have found that to be quite heartwarming. But I'm also interested too in how him and you remember Prince and all of them had these battles with Sony. I am interested to see how that worked out. I'm also interested to see how he finagled, because some people said that he was a great business person. I'm interested to see how he finagled that Beatles catalog out from under the Beatles. But anyway, are y'all interested? Are y'all excited for this? I'm interested. I hope that they get it worked out. I hope it's worked out that it's only one movie, but if it's two, then it's two. All right, people. We do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, Michael is coming out.